Okay, so now we are ready to create our Twitter producer. And so what I'm gonna have to do first is to basically create a new folder. So we had .tutorial1, so I click on Java. I create a new package and I'll call it com.github.simplesteph.kafka.tutorial2. Okay, and this is where I'll place my Twitter stuff. So I'll create a class and I'll call it Twitter producer. And this is good. And next, I'm going to add a PSVM, run a small system out to see if everything's working fine. So hello, run this like this, and it says hello, so happy, everything works. Okay, so we are ready to write our Twitter producer. So basically, there's a couple of things we need to do, right? We need to create a Twitter client, then we need to create a Kafka producer, and then loop to send tweets to Kafka. So basically 3 steps. So number 1, we'll create a producer, number 2, Kafka producer, and then we'll link the 2 together. So the first thing I want to do is to create our constructor, so public Twitter producer, and this is nothing special, so here we go. Next, it will have a run method, so public void run method, and this is what will do things. So I'll paste all this in my run method, and here I will say new Twitter producer dot run. This way our application will run from there. Okay, so we're good here. Now we have to go with create a Twitter client. So public, for now be void, create Twitter client, and we'll see if we need to pass any arguments. So let's have a look at the documentation offered by the project. Okay, so then we look at the quick start and we can see that there is a message queue and an event queue. And so basically we'll have to set up a message queue. So I'll just copy this one thing and we will set up right here a message queue. I'll import it. So I'll do Alt Enter to import what I need and do import class. Okay. Next, we have to declare the host we want to connect to, the endpoint, and the authentication. So I'll go ahead and copy all this, go back to my client, and then here I paste it. So all these things I have to import, so I'll do Alt Enter many times, and you can do the same up until everything is imported. So make sure you import the right things, obviously. But here we go, everything's imported. So we have to basically follow either people or terms. And so for this, we'll just follow terms, and the terms we'll follow will be something like Kafka, just to get started, okay? Now the endpoints, we do track terms, and we're done. Here we can stop this. Finally, the OAuth has to be exactly what we have set up from before. So we need the consumer key, the consumer secrets, the token, and the secret. So for this, I'm going to extract them as variables. So I'll say string consumer key equals, and we'll have to fill it, string consumer secret equals, and we'll have to fill this one as well, string token equals, and then finally secret. Okay, so now we have to fill those. So let's go to our application, Twitter developers, and you can paste one by one. So the key is the first one, then the secret is the second one, and then we have token and secret, which comes from here. So make sure you select the entire thing, and then last one, the secret. So do this on your own. Okay, we're done. Now we have to link these into our OAuth. So I'll say consumer key, consumer secret, token, and then secret. And I can delete the rest. And here is our hostbird auth. Okay, so this looks good. Next, I go back to the documentation. And once we have set up the OAuth, we have to create a client. So we'll copy this entire thing to create a client. And so here we go, client is created. We have a client builder, so I import the client builder. And so you can name it whatever you want. I'll name it hostbird client 01, just like this. And the processor is a string delimited processor. And there's no event message queue. That's basically if you want to process like client events, but for now we don't need it, so I'll just delete this one. And I'll add the missing semicolon. So here basically we say we create a client and it connects to the stream host, and then for the authentication use the hostbird auth, and for the endpoint you should use a status filter endpoint, which is all these terms we're tracking, and then you give me a string delimited processor for our message queue. Here finally we have a client, so we'll say here's my client builder.build, and this is what I want to return, so I'll return my hostbird client. Here we have to remove these two lines, and I'll copy them and I'll put them in the run. We'll use it later on. And so here the return type is not happy because now we need to change the void to clients. So here we have created a function, create Twitter clients. I'll make sure the indentation looks correct. Okay, and we return the hostbird client. So now we can say create a Twitter client. So client equals create Twitter clients, and then finally I can do client.connect. Now to extract the messages, basically this client will put the messages into this message queue. So I also need to extract the message queue outside, and I'll make this a parameter. So I'll click here in my run, I'll create my message queue. I'll say it has a capacity of 1000 messages, and this message queue is what I pass to my Twitter client to be created. So here I'll pass in a blocking queue of string, and that's my message queue, so that this function still works. Okay, so we have refactored what we needed to do, and now we can just test whether or not the client works. So we skip the Kafka producer just for now, and we're going to loop to send tweets to Kafka, or to the console. So there's a while loop to do, and it is described in the bottom. So here it is. There's a while hostbird.client is done, and we can just use that. So we'll just copy it. While hostbird client is done, message equals message queue.take, and then something message, and then profits. So let's do everything we need. There's a message queue dot, and we can do poll instead. And the timeout is a long, so 5, and we'll say time units dot seconds, so 5 seconds of wait. Okay, and this basically can throw an interrupted exception. So I'll say, I'll actually surround it with try catch, and I say, okay, if it's interrupted, then we'll print the stack trace, and we should also do clients dot stop. Okay, because obviously something get interrupted, so we need to stop everything. Here is while not client is done, and then finally, so we have a message, and we pull from here, and if there's an error, well, it's not happy, and then we'll do else. So if message is not equal to null, so we'll need to test whether or not the message got indeed pulled. Then we'll just, for now, we'll print the message to the console. So we'll do, and we have to create a logger right now. So let's just do this and create a logger. So logger equals logger factory dot get logger, and we'll do Twitter producer dot class dot get name. Okay, we'll use this logger, and we'll say logger dot info, and we'll just pass in the message just to see how things work. So this is good, and here logger dot info end of application. So this looks correct. The client connects, it creates Twitter client, we have a message queue. So here we do logger.info setup. And so it looks like everything is ready to be run. So just to summarize, we have a message queue, and we have a Twitter client, and the client connects. And then when the client isn't done, we still keep on polling for messages. And when we stop the client, when we get an interrupted exception, then we get a stack trace and we stop our clients. So this should be it. This should be good. These can go to the top just for style purposes. Okay, and we can make all of these private, but we won't do it right now. And finally, for the search terms, because we want something that's going to be high volume just to see if things work, we're just going to write Bitcoin, because I probably get a lot of tweets about Bitcoin. Okay, so we're ready. We'll run the program and see if it works. And so we establish a connection, and as you can see, now we see Twitter tweets happening right now about Bitcoin. And so these people are just posting whatever they want on Bitcoin. So you should see this on your screen right now as well if everything's working correctly. And yes, we are receiving a ton of streams, a ton of little tweets. And so we'll have to test it out with our own tweets with Kafka. So I'll see you in the next lecture to wire up a Kafka producer.